it is a subduction boundary, so I'm going to make this a little bit bigger, drag that out of the way. But in a subduction boundary where two plates come together, and this can be either a continental plate or an ocean plate colliding with each other, or it can be two ocean plates or two continental plates. In this case, what's happening is an ocean plate and a continental plate colliding. And so when I start this animation, what you can see is the plate on the left-hand side is moving toward the plate on the right-hand side, and it's being forced underneath or subducted.
So here we are in Rocky Mountain National Park. We found this cool display that shows how plates get subducted under each other and mountains form.
Okay, so that's the end of that one. So I'm going to just move that one down. So you can see how what happens when one of those goes underneath the other, it causes some formations to occur on the top plate, what is also referred to as the overriding plate. The second one that I wanted to show you is faulting, which is something that you are going to see more of in the next unit, Unit 6. Faulting is something that occurs where there are breaks in the different layers of rocks. Now, this is something that doesn't necessarily happen at a plate boundary, but you have what's called a hanging wall and a footwall. And so first of all, to define what the fault is, it's this line right here. It's where the break in the rock layers occurs, and we name faults by the different types of movements that occur. So again, I'm going to move this down. This demonstrates what is called a transform fault and a reverse fault. There's a third type of fault called a normal fault, and that's not shown, but when I finish with this, I'll explain what that one is like to you.
So here we have, first of all, a transform fault, where you see the plates sliding past each other. This is a reverse fault, where the hanging wall moves up over the footwall. And I guess we don't have a reverse.
So anyway, you can see on that, again, the transform fault is the one where there is this horizontal movement, where they slide past each other. That was the first movement that you saw. The second one, the reverse fault, occurs when one plate moves upward relative to the other. That's the hanging wall, this one that's above the fault. It moves upward. A normal fault is very similar. There's movement along that fault line in a vertical direction, but instead of this wall, the hanging wall, moving upward, it drops downward. And so that's called a normal fault. The last one, little interaction or animation that I want to show you is folding. And so folding occurs where rock layers are deep within the earth. They are soft because of the temperature in the Earth's interior. And so you can see before folding occurs, you can see all of these different layers of rock that are here. They're nice, flat, horizontal layers. But sometimes during mountain building episodes or when plates are colliding, it causes materials to buckle. And what happens if the rock layers are soft, rather than breaking or snapping like you saw with the fault on the previous one, is they bend.
So here we have an example of folding.
So you can see, instead, I'm going to play that again. You can see that they all move upward. And I'm going to stop right there. But the difference in this is that these layers of rocks don't break. They just kind of bend upwards. And so they cause these hills. But what happens is you have these layers of rock and they look like they're wavy layers rather than nice flat layers. The reverse direction can occur as well. This forms when it arches upward like that. It's called an anticline. When the center where the fold occurs drops downward, it's called a syncline, like a sink. So it forms what's called a basin. So hopefully those little video clips give you a little bit of an idea of how some of these different forms would occur, these geologic features would form because of the movement of the different plates.